Statistics state that the average new business will fail within 18 months to 2 years, and that property investors, again on average, will sell within 5 years. So why is this? Hi, thanks for joining me. My name's Tim from Think Property Business. So if you guessed the reason why businesses fail and investors sell property due to poor cash flow or lack of cash flow, then you guessed right. And most people are very aware that a lot of people have created and become very wealthy through acquiring property. So it's not that the strategy is unproven. And if we relate, and we're talking about property and business, and really they go hand in hand. So we really should look at our family unit, whatever that looks like, as a business as well. We've got cash coming in, money coming in, and money going out through expenses. So at the end of the day, it's exactly the same principle. Now, again, a lot of people are aware that the strategy works. Property investment works. There's no doubt about it. A lot of people, again, have become very, very wealthy through acquiring property. So the reason why most people fail is because, one, they don't understand the language of investment, and the other one is they don't understand the fundamentals before they get involved with investing, and it becomes too late. Obviously, you're not going to. A lot of times, you can, if you look at the property market that we're just going through now, then you might have made a mistake, and however, the fact that the market was booming may have covered up those mistakes. But generally speaking, you really, really need to be able to go into anything with an understanding of what those, at least the fundamentals are. And if you don't understand them, you really need to research, talk to people, read up about it and what have you, because it's not difficult. It's quite an easy thing to work through. Some people aren't good with numbers, so you may need to get a help with that. But at the end of the day, it is about cash flow, and that involves numbers. Now, where we're coming from now at the stage that we've got interest rates at historically low, and there's the talk that they're obviously the only way they're going to go is up, and that may happen over the next couple of years. Now, the lenders have been forced to basically qualify us or borrowers at a much higher assessment rate than the current variable rate. So they're building a buffer in there to, again, counter any increases in interest rates. However, it's important that we understand as well as investors, we can't just leave it to everyone else to do the work for us. So if we're looking to acquire a property, then you really want to get a very, very good understanding of what that cash flow position of that property means to you. And again, if you don't, then that's when you get into trouble. Now, it's maybe something that you need to get a hand with, as in calculating the net cash flow position, because we're not talking about yields. We're talking about the actual net cash flow position of that property. Once everything's been taken into consideration, what does it look like at the end of the day? Now, if you're on borderline with, let's say, for example, that property is going to cost you, $50 out of pocket a week, just as an example, and that is something that you can manage. But if there was increase in expenses, and the main expense will be interest on the loan, then what is that going to look like for you? Now, the way around that would be obviously to include buffers, interest rate buffers within your cash flow calculations. You can also, rather than accepting or including 52 weeks of the year in rent, you cut that back. Those types of things. So you can build these buffers in, and that gives you a much better. That's what we should be doing. As responsible investors, we should be doing that. We need to know if the market shifts, or things that we can't control move and go away from in the direction that we don't want, then what can we do to mitigate that, and what can we do to counter that? So it's our responsibility to do that, really, and understand what that looks like. Again, you get help from others who know that, and they're professionals, and they do that every day, all day, every day. But you still want to understand what that looks like, because not everybody out there, unfortunately, is on your side. Some are just looking to put you into a property, and if it works for you, great. If not, well, it's a shame. But so you really need to take that responsibility yourself as well. So if you support the view that cash flow is the lifeblood of business, investment property, and that the capital gains are the reward that we get at the end of the day, then we need to see out the journey to be able to realise those gains or those rewards. So if the cash flow is not there, then that's going to make it very, very difficult. That's, again, the average investor struggles and therefore sells within 5 years. Now, understanding the gauges or understanding the language of business investment is all about numbers. It really is. If you were going to look at acquiring a business and you got the financials and you could see that that business is losing a lot of money, you probably walk away. And there's no different when you're looking at an investment property. If you're just blinded by the novelty and the fun factor of getting into a property and being a property investor, then again, that's where you're going to get in trouble. So you really need to drill down on what those gauges would look like. If you're going to jump onto a plane and you walk past the cockpit and you saw the pilot pointing and saying, "Oh, what do these things do?" You get off the plane. So again, you've got to look at the same thing as when your approach around that investment. I know I'm talking about a lot, but it really is important. Again, you can be an average investor and get a property and hope that within the 5 years that you own it before you have to sell it, that you get something out of it, or you can do it responsibly and again be there for the journey and actually get those rewards and be like a lot of people who have created wealth through acquiring property. So again, the message is really don't be an average investor. Look at what they do the opposite if you want to succeed. And we know, and again, a lot of people believe that it's very difficult to actually just live off the income from a property. So I'm not talking about just having enough income from that property to help with your ability to operate as a family or an individual, whatever that looks like for you. But what I'm talking about is having that cash flow position so that you can afford to hold that property. Again, it's very unlikely that any property is going to allow you to live off the income. You can read up. A lot of people have different views on that, but a lot of people have that view that it's about the capital gains, that where you're going to get your rewards from and your true rewards, your real rewards from. So there are a few, and if you check out my videos on NDIS investment opportunity, probably only one, there might be a few others that where they basically provide a lot of income straight up. Okay, if you don't want to be an average investor, then understand what the gauges look like and how to read them. Take a commercial approach. Get the emotion out of it, and that way again you're taking that responsibility, and there will be a much better chance of actually realising those rewards, and again being rewarded, literally being rewarded for being a responsible investor. Thanks so much for joining me today. I look forward to catching up next time. Take care.